The ESPN segment covering LeBron James' latest milestone, crossing 50,000 total points, regular season and playoffs combined, is more than just a celebration of a singular achievement. It's a reflection of the broader conversation about longevity, greatness, and what truly defines the best player in NBA history. The idea of finally retiring the Michael Jordan versus LeBron James GOAT debate is an interesting take, and one that aligns with how we as basketball fans, and particularly Americans, tend to discuss sports legacies. Longevity versus peak dominance, the American perspective on greatness. One of the most American aspects of sports fandom is the desire to anoint the best in an absolute sense. We love clear-cut answers, definitive rankings, and singular icons. That's why the Jordan versus LeBron debate has persisted for so long. It pits two different ideals of greatness against each other. Michael Jordan represents peak dominance, a six-time champion with a perfect finals record, an unstoppable competitor, and a player who defined an entire era of basketball. LeBron James, on the other hand, represents sustained excellence, a player who has redefined what longevity means in professional sports, maintaining an elite level of play for 2 decades. Brian Windhorst's comments in the ESPN segment highlight this divide. He acknowledges that LeBron's 50,000-point milestone isn't necessarily about being the greatest scorer in history, but about endurance. That distinction is crucial because it speaks to a shift in how we evaluate all-time greats. For years, Americans have valued peak greatness above all else, hence Jordan's untouchable status. But LeBron's accomplishments are forcing a re-evaluation of that thinking. If we view greatness through the lens of longevity, LeBron has already won. There has never been a player who has remained at an elite level for as long as he has. The fact that he just won Player of the Month 2 decades after his first win is staggering. In an era where athletes are extending their primes thanks to better training, diet, and recovery techniques, LeBron is the poster child for what's possible. LeBron's continued dominance. How much more can he do? The Lakers' 7-game win streak adds another layer to this discussion. LeBron isn't just sticking around. He's still leading his team to wins and putting up superstar numbers. The duo of Luka Doncic and LeBron is especially intriguing because it showcases how LeBron can adapt his game. He no longer has to be the primary playmaker every possession, but when needed, he can still take over. The mention of Luka's growing chemistry with LeBron reinforces the idea that LeBron's career isn't slowing down but evolving. It's reminiscent of how Tom Brady, another athlete who redefined longevity, adjusted his game as he aged. Rather than relying on physical dominance alone, Brady leaned on experience, intelligence, and efficiency, qualities LeBron has mastered as well. The GOAT debate. Is it over? The most interesting part of the ESPN segment is the suggestion that the Jordan versus LeBron debate should finally be retired. This is a bold statement, and one that won't sit well with many fans. But when you strip away nostalgia and preference, Windhorst is correct in one major sense. LeBron's career breadth is unmatched. If we were to construct the GOAT debate purely based on peak dominance, Jordan would still have the edge. His 6 championships, 2 three-peats, and ability to completely control the biggest moments in basketball history are legendary. But if the discussion shifts to overall impact, durability, and sustained greatness, LeBron has a case that is virtually unassailable. The analogy Windhorst uses, comparing LeBron to a vast mountain range like the Canadian Rockies, while Jordan is Mount Everest, perfectly encapsulates this dynamic. Jordan's peak was the highest, but LeBron's career covers more ground. Which is more impressive? That's up to individual interpretation. The bigger picture. What this means for American sports culture. In many ways, the Jordan versus LeBron debate is a microcosm of how American sports culture is changing. Traditionalists cling to the idea that greatness is measured in rings, clutch moments, and dominance over an era. Modernists argue that longevity, adaptability, and consistency across different generations are just as, if not more, important. LeBron is breaking barriers that we once thought were impossible. He's redefining what an athlete's prime can look like. If he continues playing at a high level into his 40s, he could render the GOAT debate irrelevant, simply because no one will have a comparable resume. Conclusion: do we even need a GOAT? Ultimately, the ESPN discussion raises an even bigger question. Do we really need to declare a single greatest player of all time? Sports culture, particularly in America, thrives on rankings and definitive lists, but maybe the true lesson from LeBron's career is that greatness isn't a singular concept. There is room to appreciate Jordan's dominance, LeBron's longevity, and even the future stars who will push the game forward. Instead of endlessly debating who the GOAT is, perhaps it's time to appreciate each era for what it brought to the game. LeBron's 50,000-point milestone is just another reminder that we are witnessing something unprecedented. Whether or not that makes him the GOAT is up to each fan to decide, but one thing is certain: he has already secured a place in history that no one can dispute.